Hey everyone, it's Bill. Today we're talking about Martin Scorsese's sport biopic, Raging Bull. I just got to see it in beautiful 4K, and something clicked upon my third rewatch that this is a film I want to talk about. Released in 1980, Robert De Niro stars as Jake LaMotta, part-time boxer, all-time asshole. This film was based off the memoir written by Jake and adapted for the screen by the incel master himself, Paul Schrader. So you know there's going to be some heavy toxic masculinity in here. In this, we see the dramatized rise and fall of LaMotta's career, as well as his marriage. Before I get into the story of Raging Bull, I want to praise its editing and cinematography, okay? The choice to utilize black and white imagery was such a great call, differentiating from other boxing films at the time. Each shot looks like a very well orchestrated painting. I can't help but praise Michael Chapman's work enough on this film. Thelma Schoonmaker elevates Chapman's imagery, editing each cut, pan, and transition so brutally and impactful. It made the story so believable. It made the boxing matches all the more believable. So she's completely deserving of the Oscar she won. There's an abundance of symbolism when it comes to the themes of Raging Bull. On a surface level, yeah, it's a boxer. He's mean to his wife and brother, and he quit boxing to do stand-up. Minus the abuse, this could look like a run-of-the-mill Joe Rogan story. But it's not. This film is so much more than that. At the heart, and not really having much of one, we have our protagonist. Also not really much of one, Jake LaMotta. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, he's a monster. It's very hard to find sympathy for his character while watching the film. But that doesn't undermine the powerhouse performance and animalistic presence De Niro's character has on screen. While some people like to call this black and white Rocky, Raging Bull is far from that. Okay, Rocky is not a wife beater. Rocky is not an egomaniac. Jake is the antithesis to Rocky's pure good. Jake's the evil underdog, the one we don't want to succeed. Yet we see him do so. This film arguably solidified Scorsese's use of that Shakespearean fall of the protagonist, that storyline we're very well accustomed to in his filmography. We see Jake have it all, get it all. He becomes a middleweight champion, marries the woman he loves, and raises children. Though throughout Raging Bull's runtime, we see all these things slowly slip away. This is such a great look at the fall of an icon. Through excellent writing, we witness the deterioration of LaMotta's life, and it's filmed all so beautifully well. In many scenes, Jake LaMotta accuses his wife of infidelity, beating her on multiple occasions. The scenes can be graphic to watch. In one agonizing scene, he beats his brother Joey when he suspects him of sleeping with his wife. You can't help but feel for these secondary characters when this unpredictable storm of rage is casted upon them. Jake's overwhelming levels of jealousy and vengeance towards his wife and brother all stem from the Madonna whore dichotomy that he struggles with. First theorized from Sigmund Freud, yeah, that guy, the Madonna whore complex is when a man views a woman in one of two categories: an unobtainable goddess of purity or a degraded, promiscuous woman. So essentially, Madonnas or whores. Obviously, this view is so incredibly misogynistic. It's fucked up on every level, and sadly, this is how Jake LaMotta views his wife. Before he marries her, he sees her as this goddess, this otherworldly being. Yet once she's with him, he's latched onto her, never believing she'll remain faithful to him. All it takes for him is a glance or a brief moment of touch for his paranoia to kick in and his overthinking to lash out. His possessiveness escalates to an almost cruel measure. In actuality, he thrives off of this insecurity when he's in the ring. His unleashed hatred leads him to many victories. There's no skill he utilizes, no tactics. He just takes every punch and executes pure anger on anyone he opposes. That's all he has up his sleeves, and it's a valuable asset to an extent. In an incredibly effective scene, Jake fights Tony Gennaro, the boxer that his wife once casually mentioned is good looking. LaMotta uses just that one comment to fuel his rage, as if beating Gennaro like it's his personal vendetta to ruin him. The fight ends with Gennaro's nose basically torn off and a KO, with someone saying,
"He ain't pretty no more."
A character I loved so much in this film was Joe Pesci's portrayal of LaMotta's brother, Joey. Throughout the film, we see their relationship and how the two butt heads. For the most part, it's out of familial love or a somewhat brotherly competitiveness. But Jake always takes it too far.
We have fights all the time. When you're worried now you're gonna hit me in the face? Hit me in the face. Go ahead.
He says at the dinner table.
Come on, don't be a little faggot. Come on, hit me.
He says when Joey won't do it. You definitely feel for Joey's character because he is a good guy. He wants to be there for his brother, and he wants to support him in a positive career path. But once Jake marries Vicky, it all goes sour. Even after Joey beat up Salvi for flirting with Vicky, Jake still accuses him of sleeping with his wife. The scene where LaMotta confronts Joey is just so heartbreaking, in my opinion. You know there's nothing Joey can say to put Jake at ease. He'll always be a ticking time bomb, ready to explode at his loved ones. It's even sadder seeing Joey, much older, not even wanting to acknowledge Jake's existence.
Come on, you're my brother. You're French.
He says, but it's too late. While Jake speaks highly of himself externally,
I'm better than him.
Internally, he thinks the complete opposite. He just cannot believe himself to be genuinely loved, nor can he imagine surrendering himself to trust. Years pass once he loses his boxing career. After his wife finally divorced him, an obese Jake becomes a comedian, performing stand-up at rundown clubs. The scene where he spends the night in jail in Florida for a sex crime is just incredible. And I never thought I would utter that sentence, but that level of repressed rage and anger towards himself is honestly beautiful to see. He loathes himself, and deep down, I'd like to think he knows he's an animal. He doubts it, but he knows what he's done. And you're thinking this may be the chance for LaMotta to come to terms with the sins he's committed. And what this film does so well is how it tricks you into thinking he'll recognize this behavior. It makes you hope and pray that Jake can change. He marries Vicky, it'll work out. He wins the boxing title, it'll work out, but it never does. On paper, LaMotta is a walking success story, but he keeps doing unforgivable things and never learns from them. He makes the audience hope for a redemption, but by the time we see him rage in his prison cell, we know any chance of that has plummeted into the ground. And while he does acknowledge his cruelty, he shows no remorse for his actions. In the final scene, Jake prepares himself before he goes on stage. He utters the same monologue Brando performed in On the Waterfront.
I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody. Instead of a bum.
I'm sorry, but doesn't this feel off to you? This way to end off the film? Jake compares himself to Terry Malloy's character, a boxer who becomes a palooka and was slighted from the man he trusted. But we've witnessed for over 2 hours our protagonist, Jake LaMotta, demonstrating irredeemable qualities. We've seen him beat women and commit countless actions of cruelty. We've seen him have it all as a successful boxer, only to lose it all because of his own problems. Yet he recites this speech, and in this scene we can clearly tell that Jake imagines himself the victim. He thinks the world is against him and refuses to take responsibility for his actions. While Jake gives this speech, he stands in front of the mirror. In a clever final visual, Scorsese tells his audience who it was that took everything away. It's pretty obvious, the irony uncanny, but the Raging Bull will always be Jake LaMotta's worst enemy. I love Raging Bull because it's such a unique telling of a biopic. Nowadays, whenever I watch a biopic, the filmmakers are too afraid to delve into the character's dark side. While most have a glamorized, filtered facade, Raging Bull is anything but. It's unflinching in its depiction of LaMotta's abuse. For keeping true to its gruesome material, I respect the crew of this picture greatly. De Niro's performance is just off the charts in this one, totally deserving of his Oscar award. He fully embodied LaMotta's real-life transformation, going from an athletic build of a star to gaining over 60 pounds of fat to portray the out-of-shape loser LaMotta would become. Through Scorsese's excellent direction and a fall-from-grace formula, Raging Bull conveys the pointlessness of being the evil underdog. LaMotta is a man who destroyed his life in the pursuit of self-punishment. In the end, he lived his life as a raging meltdown against the world. If you like this video, please don't forget to support this channel with a subscribe. Thank you all, everyone, for watching. Tell me your thoughts about Raging Bull down in the comments. I would love to hear them. Obviously, I love this film. I think it's one of Scorsese's best character studies he's done. Thank you all for watching. As always, have a good day. Watch a good film. It's been Bill, guys. Later.